Welcome up, guest. Are
Hello.
you 18 plus?
Yes, I'm 18.
Wonderful. May we get your pronouns?
I'm a man, so he, him.
Excellent. Do you believe in a God?
Yes, I believe in the Christian God.
Wonderful. My friend Ace and Apostate 8, they're going to have a conversation with you. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful.
Okay. Do you think your God is all good?
Yes, he is all good.
Do you think he's all knowing?
He is all knowing.
Do you think owning people is wrong?
Um, hmm. Owning people, yes, I would say is wrong. But if you're going to talk about slavery in the Bible, it is different from the slavery of the current day that we have.
It's not, but I can explain that.
Okay.
So, Leviticus 25, we're going to go through 39 through 46. 39 through 43 shows you, indentured servitude. Whereas
Yes.
for 44 through 46, it shows you, slavery. It shows how to go about owning how to get people to own, how to own people as property, and to pass them down from generation to generation.
What chapter did you say?
Leviticus 25.
Okay. You said which verses again?
The 44 through 46 is the ones where it brings up owning people as property. 39 through 43 shows you indentured servitude.
Yeah. O-
So this specifically shows how to go about owning people. It says you may also, as for male and female slaves whom you have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves. You may also acquire them from among the aliens residing with you, and from their families who are with you, who have been born in your land. They may be your property. You may keep them as a possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property. These you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, no one shall rule over the others with harshness.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just reading a little more into it. I don't see where you get the slavery that we have in current day, though. It's still indentured servitude.
Chattel
Indentured
slavery.
servitude, indentured servitude means that you're going to be released, which
Yeah,
is mapped out in 39 through 43, which specifically states Israelites. Starting from 39, if any who are dependent on you become so impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. They shall serve with you until the year of Jubilee. Then they and their children with them shall go out from your authority. They shall go back to their own family and return to their ancestral property. For they are my servants whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as slaves are sold. You shall not rule over them with harshness, but shall fear your God. As for the male and female slaves whom you may have, it is from the nations around you that you may acquire male and female slaves.
yeah, and in verse 53 it says they are to be treated as workers hired from year to year. You must see it to those to whom they owe service, do not rule over them ruthlessly. So it's still talking about indentured servitude.
It goes back because this one specifically in 44 through 46, it says, these may be your property whom you owe. Dr. Bowman, hi buddy.
Oh, who's Dr. Bellman?
Ooh. He's a scholar, bro. Don't you ain't gotta listen to him, yes, though.
Hey, Dr.
Hey,
B.
sorry. You guys don't. I couldn't resist tapping the screen. You guys definitely don't need me for this, but I just wanted to be up here in case maybe I could help.
Well, thank you. So in 44 through 46, it specifically says, they may be your property. You may keep them as possession for your children after you, for them to inherit as property, which means you can pass them from generation to generation as property. Whereas with these you may treat as slaves, but as for your fellow Israelites, which is detailed in 39 through 43, which is when the year of Jubilee gets brought up, they are not to be treated as slaves, and it specifically says that they are indentured servants, whereas the slaves, it specifically says these are to be your slaves.
Yeah, and in 49 it says an uncle or cousin or a blood relative in their clan may redeem them, or if they prosper, they may redeem themselves. So there's a way out, so it is still indentured servitude.
Wait, that's if a foreigner owns them. They have a right to be bought back from the foreigners by the Israelites, is what that's about. This is
Exactly,
this is
that's
actually
important.
verse 39 is forbidding debt slavery, but it's allowing chattel slavery.
It's what?
That's
What
what it says. It
version-
says, if
wait, what
anybody
version are you
becomes
reading
so
from?
impoverished that they sell themselves to you, you shall not make them serve as slaves. They shall remain with you as hired or bound laborers. It's saying you can't make them serve as slaves. Saying if you want slaves, get them from the nations around you, and they can be your property. You can pass them on to your children and treat them like slaves.
Well, I don't get where you're getting that interpretation from. It's still talking about indentured servitude.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but it's
Look,
yeah.
hang on.
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Hang on. In 47, because you keep bringing up like the ones below, if resident aliens among you prosper, and if any of your kin fall into difficulty with one of them and sell themselves to an alien or to a branch of the alien's family, it specifically says if your kin, talking to the Israelites, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Even after they have sold themselves, they shall have the right of redemption. One of their brothers may redeem them, still talking about the Israelite. Or their uncle or their uncle's son may redeem them, or any one of their family who is their own flesh may redeem them, or if they prosper, they may redeem themselves. Still talking about the Israelites. Because specifically in 47, it says if one of your kin, talking to the Israelites, as has already been determined, if one of your kin fall into difficulty with one of them, talking about if one of the kin falls into difficulty with one of the resident aliens, then your kin can be redeemed from this resident alien.
Which means bought back.
Ace, would it be okay if I took like 30 seconds just because I feel like maybe explaining the 30,000 foot view of this section of Leviticus 25 might help situate it? Would that be all right?
Go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, the first part of the chapter is about the Jubilee, and so much of this chapter is centered on the Jubilee, the release every 50th year. But this section is part of a larger section, which is what happens if Israelites fall on hard times. That's sort of the broad idea of what's going on. And so the text lays out essentially three different stages of greater poverty that an Israelite could fall into. So it says if they have to sell a portion of their land, here's what you do. And then if that, selling that portion of their land doesn't get them where they need to go financially, and they actually just sell off all their land and then give them loans, right? Don't charge them interest, give them loans for, no interest. If that doesn't help, right? If they still, have more bad crop years or whatever, and they have to, now they can't do anything except sell themselves to you, as Apostate Ape was saying, you're not allowed to treat them as like slaves. You have to treat them instead as hired workers, and they stay with you and then they get released. So then if you skip 44 to 46 for just a second, because it's almost parenthetical, it's almost like a parenthesis. It's like by the way, let me throw this in here. Then the text picks up in 47 and says, well, what happens if an Israelite doesn't sell himself in that very poor situation, doesn't sell himself to another Israelite, but instead sells himself to a tenant farmer that's living in the land of Israel, right? A foreigner that's living inside of Israel. Because it's already said, like, if an Israelite sells himself to another Israelite, here's the law. That's 39 to 43. But what happens if he sells himself to a foreigner? And then, so 47 to 55 lays out that situation. Here's what you're supposed to do in that situation. So that's like the the broad context of the passage. So then in the midst of that, the reader, and I'll shut up after this, the reader might be asking the question, or the Israelite, reading this might ask the question, well, wait a second, if we can't take a fellow Israelite as a slave anymore, right? We have to treat him as a hired worker. Where are we supposed to get our slaves from? So the text says, as for the male and female slaves that you may have, you may get them from the nations around you. From them you may buy slaves. Also from the temporary residents that are living in the land with you, blah, 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 blah. So 44 to 46 is that sort of parenthetical, set of verses that says, you can't do it to Israelites anymore. So if you want them, here's where you got to get them. Hopefully that maybe put all that in context. I hope. Anyway, thank you. Sorry, I'll mute up.
Yeah, okay. But I get what you're talking about. It is the same type of slavery, but it's still not saying treat them how they were treated now. It's not saying treat them bad. And
It says you can beat them as long as they don't die within a 24-hour period because they're your property.
no, it's not the same as that.
Sure, I mean, that's what it says, though.
Where?
Exodus 21:20. Says,
Exodus
says if you
21:20?
strike them with a rod and they die immediately, the owner shall be punished. But if they survive more than a day or two, there is no punishment because they are your money, your property. It actually says money.
Yeah, that's actively going against beating them for no reason. What?
Well, it
And
doesn't give a reason.
and
It just says if
and
you strike them.
and preventing too harsh of a punishment.
Well, I mean, what would you consider like an appropriate amount of beating for a slave?
I don't know. I don't own slaves. What? Like that was a different time period back then. You also got to look at it like that. Like,
You should tell that to God.
all right,
So you don't think it's right to own slaves or beat them, right?
yeah, I don't think it is right.
Well, then
But
how can you say God is good if he allows these things?
because God is working with an imperfect world. It's
Yeah,
like I need you to
yeah,
look
but
at it like this, okay? So back then, after Adam and Eve ate of the fruit, okay, the world became imperfect, it became in sin, and it was a shattered and broken world. And shattered and broken things happened in that world.
but boy, let's do a slightly different hypothetical. Okay. Let's say that Jesus, didn't come 2,000 years ago, right? Let's say, let's say the timeline shifted and God came down and rescued a people in 1840, right? And so he came down, and when he came down, he gave his laws here in America. And people here in America, they're performing or they're practicing chattel slavery, right?
Yeah.
If God set out his laws in 1840 and said, you may own other people as property, you can't enslave fellow Americans. Instead, if there's like a foreigner that's living in America, you can enslave them. If there's, you go to like the nations outside of America, you can get slaves from them. You wouldn't, I mean, I know you wouldn't, right? I'm just trying to set up a hypothetical. You wouldn't say, well, they were doing it, right? It was a bad time. Like God's just sort of working within the broken system. Like that wouldn't make it okay that God said you carry on doing slavery, right?
Wait, you're saying if Jesus came back in that time, or if God
Yeah,
came back?
sorry. My hypothetical sounded goofy in the beginning. Sorry. I was just trying to say, like, let's just try go. If God came down in 1840 and gave a set of laws and said, here's how you do slavery properly, that would be a problem, right?
Well, if you still have to look at it, we'd still be in a broken world, and there'd it's just how the world would be. Because before Jesus, before there was a way out, there was no way out. and we lived in a broken world because sin existed. So God was using the people as they were to further the like I can't find the word right now, but yeah,
You're saying to
I,
like regulate it to make it better, not to
yeah,
get
to
rid of it,
regulate
but
it,
to like,
to
okay.
to give it regulation, basically, because back then they had no laws. That's why they needed the laws of Moses. Like it
Who
was
who
basically
who
the
had no
Wild
laws?
West. Like the nations, they did not have good laws. They had
Oh,
laws. They did have laws. They had laws, okay, but they were laws that did not protect everybody.
okay. Let me. So I get. Listen, I'm not coming at you with this. I mean, like about this. I understand that this is something that is said online a lot by very prominent Christian apologists. So I get that. It unfortunately, it's just not true at all. Um, so, like, there are lots of law collections from the ancient Near East that like are extant, right? I mean, you could go read them. You can go to the Louvre
Yeah,
and see the most famous one.
yeah,
And like in the laws of Hammurabi, for example,
yeah.
law
Hammurabi's
one,
code.
yeah, that's right. So law 117 says that if you take someone as like a debt slave, you're allowed to make them serve for 3 years maximum. And you have to release them. Like it doesn't say, but it doesn't say you have to release them in the fourth, but you can only make them serve for 3 years and their debt is repaid.
Yeah, but that's
So,
talking about indentured servitude. But
right.
they also they still had
It's
slaves though, as we're talking
right.
about.
But it's the same thing that Exodus 21 and Deuteronomy 15 are talking about. But if you remember from those passages, they were allowed to, in the Hebrew Bible, they were allowed to keep slaves for 6 years. So you would be in a very precarious situation, I think, there. You would have to argue if God is regulating this, that somehow owning their slaves for 6 years was more moral or more just than only being allowed to own them 3 years.
Hmm. Um, I don't really know. I'm not too familiar with the old law, so I feel like this argument's not the best for me.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's just something I asked Cliff Knechtley this question. And also Trent Horn. I asked Trent Horn and Gavin Ortland the same question. And there really isn't a good, I mean, as far as I can tell, there isn't really a good answer to it. They just sort of had to say essentially like, well, somehow it must have been better. We don't know how, but God's ways, right? Isaiah 55. So
Well,
I get it. Sorry, go ahead.
well, like as a Christian or an early Israelite, it is having faith in God that He knew better than you. So yeah, it is trusting in God's ways.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't like I know that when I was an evangelical, that would have been my ultimate position, and fair enough, right? Fair enough. I just think it puts us as humans in an uncomfortable, to say the least, an uncomfortable position to have to say things like, what we on the stage here all the time, like, well, unaliving all of those infants and uh, like that must have been moral. That must have been the right thing to do. We don't know why, but it must have been moral. That's sort of I get it. I think you're right. Like ultimately, I don't know of a defeater, I guess, for that position.
Well,
But
when you say, what do you mean when you say unaliving infant?
like in passages like 1 Samuel 15 with the Amalekites, for example, like
Yeah,
when God gives that command to
yeah,
Saul to go unalive them all. Like, I mean, I remember like Cliff, or it might have been Stuart. I can't remember. Connectly was like, look, we don't know the future. We don't know what those infants would have done or something. And it's so God must have had a morally justified reason to do it. And I can't really do much more with that, to be honest, because like I think that's just that ends up being like a faith position.
well,
So I
yeah,
don't know.
like with the Amalekites, they like they were going to continue in their ways, and it was just like they probably would have gotten worse because that's the trajectory they're heading towards. So,
Yeah, they would have kept using their free will, wouldn't they?
well, yeah, but you have free will, but you can also use it for bad. But do you
Yeah.
continue to let atrocities happen, or do you stop them?
Well, shouldn't God be stopping them?
Yeah, God used the Israelites to stop them.
All of them, even the children and the babies.
Okay, he used them to stop them. Like he just said, we don't know what they would have done in the future. We don't know why God commanded it to happen, but it was for a good reason, and I have faith in God that He knows better than me.
Right. It was because they might have grew up and used their free will wrong, right?
Okay, wait. So you're on this like using free will, right? So do you
Huh.
think you should allow atrocities to happen, or do you think we should stop them?
Well, I think we should stop them.
That's that's what they were doing.
No, God
They're,
ordered those atrocities. He did not stop them. He commanded them.
he commanded them because they were going to commit worse and more atrocities.
So he commanded atrocities to stop atrocities.
I mean, I think the First Samuel
No,
15 passage
it's
is difficult to make that argument with because the text does say specifically why they were being wiped out, and it's not because of some potential thing that they might do in the future. You could like posit that it's not something that's in the narrative at all, and the narrative tells you why they're being wiped out. But I think with the Canaanites, if I'm trying to steelman the argument here, I think with the Canaanites, if we're just going by the lights of the narrative, there's a stronger case that you could make for the Canaanites. Even there, we're going to run into lots of problems. But I think the First Samuel 15 probably is a difficult one to do that with, just because you have an explicit reason given in a text.
yeah. I'm not really familiar with First Samuel.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Um.
you're justifying God ordering that babies be unalived because of stuff they might do when they grow up. But I'm saying the whole argument that we usually, or wait a minute, maybe I'm confused. Was you the one that said you was Catholic?
No, I'm Christian, non-denominational Christian.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, maybe I was a little confused on that one anyway. But I mean, the main argument is that God allows evil because He allows free will, so it's just kind of a byproduct of free will.
Well,
But here, God is clearly concerned about somebody using their free will when they grow up, according to you. So God has to put them down as babies. But why couldn't something else have taken place there? You're saying He's preventing atrocities with atrocities. That don't make any sense to me.
well, it's a punishment of the people. You get punished for doing things against God.
Well, like for example, like what when God ordered that Babylon be destroyed, like what did
Yeah,
they do against God? What did He say was their fault?
they were holding themselves above God and saying we're better than God. And that's like where you get the Tower of Babel. They were trying to build up to God because they thought they were better than God. That's why He destroyed Babylon, is because they were so wicked and refused to just even acknowledge Him as above them, that they put themselves above God.
So, so all the babies and stuff wouldn't acknowledge God or thought they was better. Got to be
No,
destroyed, right?
yes, it's their due punishment for the crimes they committed against God.
Right, babies.
And what you keep saying babies? He didn't kill all the children of
Yep.
Babylon.
Yeah, He commanded it. You're saying He commanded Babylon be destroyed, but when He commanded that babies be bashed to pieces in front of their parents and the women raped as part of the proclamation against Babylon.
He did not command that. He prophesied that was what was going to happen, actually. And he
It actually
specifically
straight up says He commanded it.
no, it doesn't say he commanded it. He said
It does.
he
It's
stirred
in
up the
verse 3.
Medes. It says he
It
stirred up
says,
the
I
Medes.
myself have commanded my consecrated ones. I have summoned my warriors, my proudly exulting ones, to execute my anger. It says, the Lord of hosts is mustering an army for battle. They come from
What chapter
distant
is this?
lands. Well, for the day of the Lord is near. It will come like destruction from the Almighty.
Wait, what chapter is this that you're reading out of?
13. Isaiah 13.
Well, what verse did you check?
It's verse 3 where he commands it all. And then it goes on for the next many verses where God's clearly taking credit for all this.
Yeah, but we get further context in Isaiah 40, I think. I was just on this yesterday.
Well, I mean, what further context do you need? Like, God's commanding that whoever is found be thrust through, and whoever is caught will fall by the sword. Their infants will be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses will be plundered, and their wives great. See, I am stirring up the Medes against them, who have no regard for silver, and do not delight in gold. Their bows will slaughter the young men. They will have no mercy on the fruit of the womb, and their eyes will not pity children. And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, and the splendor and pride of the Chaldeans, will be like Sodom and Gomorrah, when God overthrew them. So
Yeah,
this is
he's
God's
using-
wrath coming down on Babylon. He's commanding
Yeah.
100% of this.
He's not commanding it. He's using the Medes to do his will.
That's
He's
commanding it.
No, he's
It literally
commanding.
says he's commanding it in verse 3.
He's commanding the Medes to go attack them by stirring
Exactly.
to attack Babylon by stirring them up against Babylon, but he is not justifying their actions and what they do.
He is. That's
How is
the
he- how's
proclamation
he
against
justifying?
Babylon. Because
How's
you
he
said it.
justifying
You
it?
said they were mean and wicked, right?
The Medes, yeah.
They had to go. They thought they was better than
Yeah,
God.
the Babylon?
I mean, he had
Babylon,
to.
yeah.
He had to have the baby's brains bashed out here.
Their punishment was being conquered. He used the Medes to conquer Babylon. What the Medes
Exactly. He commanded them to go and conquer Babylon. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The means they use is not justified by God.
Yes, it is. He said it was going to happen. It was a proclamation. Like these words that Isaiah is speaking in 13 are literally God's words coming out of Isaiah's mouth. This was God saying this was going to happen on his command.
It was a prophecy of what was going to happen. Yes.
Yeah, God's prophecy. That's what a prophecy is. It's God speaking through the mouth of a prophet.
Yes,
He's saying this was going to happen. God is the one who said these words. He's the one that said grape and babies being bashed to pieces. He's the one that said it.
That's what the Medes were going to do. It doesn't mean he told them to do it.
He literally says they are going to do it in a prophecy.
He said he commanded them to attack, and that's what they were going to do.
Verse 3, I
didn't
myself
command them
have
to do it.
commanded my consecrated ones. Yes, this is all God's fault. It's his proclamation. It's his day of anger and wrath. It is the day of the Almighty.
Him using the Medes does not mean he used them to rape them. The Medes
It
chose
literally
to do
says
that.
he does.
No, it doesn't. You're not reading it. You're
God,
like,
God,
okay.
it's a prophecy, my man. God says this is going to happen before they did it. God said it's going to happen. It's a prophecy.
I literally just did research on this yesterday.
How can you say that God says this is going to happen in a prophecy and then just say it was the Medes just doing it as part of being commanded to do it? This makes no sense, man.
Okay, so God is all-knowing, so he knows everything that will happen. It doesn't mean he commands everything to happen. He commanded the Medes to attack. The Medes attacked.
Yep.
What they did after they attacked, he had no control over. He could have had control over, but he didn't because they have free will, so they used their free will to choose to
Oh,
sin.
God.
They use their free
This
will
is
to
so
choose
bad,
to
man.
sin and do it's not bad. It's how you should
Free
interpret it.
will. They're commanded to attack. They obey the command, and then it's up to free will after that. You have to obey my command here and do my will, but after that, you can do your free will, and I won't stop you. You can go rape whoever you want.
If general commands someone to attack, and they attack, but they also rape, is it the general's fault that they raped?
If he said it was going to happen,
right?
Yeah, he commanded it.
Because God knows the future, so he knew what was going to happen.
I know. He knew. Exactly. You're saying he knew all this was going to happen and he didn't stop it. I
Yes.
don't understand how you can get away from God. This is anything less than God's fault. He absolutely commanded all this. It is all happening on God's will. This is God's will that this happens. That's what a prophecy is.
His will was for Babylon to fall. He used the Medes to do it. He didn't he didn't command that they rape them. That's the Medes being the Medes.
He said it was going, he announced it.
Okay. That just because he announced what was going to happen in the future, of prophecy of what would happen in the future, doesn't mean he commanded it to happen in the future.
It happened on his command. You've already said this.
He commanded the Medes to attack, did not command them to rape. There's a difference.
He's the one that set them on to Babylon.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he told them to do that. They chose.
So if
because they
America
were
sends
sinful.
out armies and says attack everybody else on the planet, and they go do it, then America's no longer at fault for anything that happens outside of what they were ordered to do. Like, this is just really bad logic, man.